Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Carol. I'm from Essential Education. Essential Ed sponsored this session, so I'm sure most of you have seen this already. Does everybody have one? Anybody not have one? I have some with me. I don't want to take any of them with me when I leave. So even if you have one, if you'd like to take an extra one home with a colleague, that would be fantastic. And any that you don't take, I'm going to send home with Sheila. But we're so excited about the guide because it was written in partnership with COAVE and a professional learning community of educators. We know that tools are important, and Essential Ed has given you many tools to help effectively manage your students and deliver instruction. But as one of our colleagues likes to say, Essential Ed turns the computer into a tutor, but the teacher is always the best feature. So you guys are the ones that really take the information and bring it to life. And we want to support you in every way we can, which is why this guide exists. And I know you've heard a lot about it, so I'm not going to take any more time. I'm going to get right into the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, welcome. We're here from Indiana, and we're here to talk about boot camps. And we do lots of boot camps in Indiana, and we do them all very differently. So suffice that to say that there's not a one-size-fits-all boot camp. I've done them different ways myself, and you do what works for you. We're just going to give you some suggestions of things that have worked for us. To click us forward. So we're going to show our objectives for today is we're going to do some innovative tools, show some curriculum design, some instructional techniques, some learner support strategies, some leverage technology. Click forward. You could drop, sure, right on.
All right. By the way, that's Sheila Butler from Indiana, and I'm Katie Walton. We're both from Indiana, so we hope to see you at COAVE next year in Indiana, if you didn't know that. But anyway, our definition of a boot camp, like Sheila says, varies, but it's typically 12 to 20 hours of instruction. We always give homework each night or right at the beginning. It's fast-paced. It's intense. You could call it the fast track course, you could call it a boot camp, whatever you want. But it is fast and it's not for everybody. A really big thing is to create a sense of urgency. Like, we want students to get this done fast. But also prefaces with you may not always get the diploma in a week. Like, you can't say you're guaranteed a diploma because it just may not happen, and that's okay. We're going to stick with you till you do. And like I said, it's not for everyone. We do have some requirements for our boot camps, but really anyone can try it and they may not like it, and that's okay. It's got to be flexible. And then well, my favorite part about the boot camp is building a community. It becomes your little family. We do ours for a week and we eat together. And, last time I did one, we prayed together. Like, you just build your little community. They feel supported by you. They support each other, and you get through. And it's fun. It is probably the best part of what we do is doing these boot camps. Oh.
No, it's stacking.
Okay. We'll try that again.
Try that again. You can call it whatever you want. Some people call it HSE in a hurry, which is kind of nice. I totally play up with the boot camp thing. I wear army fatigues and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of fun and they like it. And you get very close to these people in I do mine in 3 days. I have a day of testing, and then they're offered 3 additional days if they want a little extra. But I can do it in 3 days.
Last session, right? Like, the computer is done.
Well, I guess it's because I unplugged, so that's what I'm hoping. You guys keep going.
Okay.
Don't mind me. You don't need slides, do you?
Well, I will tell you, in your app, there is several uploads. One is I have put everything into, I have a Google Classroom. I make Google Classrooms. Now, here's the deal on the Google Classroom. If your school happens to use Google platforms, but you're in the club, which means it's a school account, you cannot get into mine. You need to be in the public account. So what happens to people if they're on their own computer and they're logged into their school account, they can't log into mine. So what you do is you open an incognito window, log in your personal Gmail or your Google, because you can actually, did you know that you can make a Google with an iCloud? You can, if you just don't get to do a Gmail, but you can do everything else in Google, so it's really cool. But you log in an incognito window, and then there is a link. I've got several ways. I have instructions. You type in a code. There is a link in the Kuba app, and if it's working right, there's a QR code. So that's an option. So if you can try to get into that, you can then have access to all kinds of resources. Katie has 4 or 5 great, huge PowerPoints of each subject. They're like enough to probably teach a class. I don't go into that much detail. Mine is mostly a math boot camp. I don't let you in if you can't read. So they have to show me that they're passing those subjects, and then it's usually math, which is like 95% of our students. So mine is mostly math boot camp, but just a little bit on the other subjects. And she spends more like a day with each subject. So we do it differently because everybody has a different way. Is it not
Because we plugged in.
Oh, okay,
okay?
okay,
Try this again.
here we go. All right, so
So yeah, we both seem to have about a 95% success rate. I really get 100% because I will not let you fail. But it's okay if they don't pass everything. Hey, they passed 4 of 5. In here, show of hands, who does HiSET? Who does GD? Who does both? Okay, I do both. She does
Yeah.
HiSET, and I mostly do GED for boot camp. But I have done HiSET for years. So my classroom, and I've inserted many of her things in it, but I give you my basic PowerPoint that I kind of drive my day with, and it kind of takes you through how my class works. I really show it to them the very first day, and I probably never open up again because I've done it for so long, I don't think about it. But it shows you how to do it for both HiSET and GED.
So we have like Sheila said, we have a pretty good success rate, and I'll just say that we had one student not pass in the 4 years we've done it and never come back and finish, but they moved to Georgia. So there's our caveat there. But like Sheila said, you stick with them till they do. So, and like the keynote said this morning, go out and fail, right? So it's okay. What is our magic? So I mentioned making the sense of community, but really it's about all the other things you do during a boot camp to make that sense of community work. And mine is usually food, making sure students have nourishment before they test and before the class. So whether you can get community sponsors to sponsor lunch, or a local pizza place to give you a good deal on pizza, whatever it is, but we always have some type of food in there to make sure everyone's energized. I always have hot coffee. That is my biggest takeaway, and Sheila has much more that she's going to share with you.
I do food too. I feed them turkey sandwiches because turkey helps you remember. But we also do, I'm kind of known for a power pose, and I don't know how many of you have ever heard of a power pose. Amy Cuddy, and you can look her up on YouTube. There's a 2-minute quickie that you can do. I do the 17-minute one. There's a 20-minute one, but you want to give her a glass of water, so I don't like that one anymore. She's very thirsty. She has very dry mouth, and she does this the entire time, and it makes me crazy. So there's like a 17-minute one, and it explains power poses. And I make everybody watch that on the very first night, and that's what we end the night with. And then we do a power pose every morning with Thanksgivings, and right before they finish at the end of class, before they take their test. And then meditations is my other thing. You can do whatever kind of meditation you want. I use a chakra meditation, and I've given a link to the one I like in your classroom too. But you can just find 10 minutes of guided meditation, 10 minutes of quiet music. The idea is you want them to, in the dark, shut their eyes and just rest for 10 minutes, right when they're done. Because your brain has to percolate. The way we learn is that we sleep. When we go to sleep, everything that we've learned goes into our long-term memory. And I can't send you home for a nap, but I can get you into what I call a theta state by going through a little meditation. And so, and a lot of my students are tired. And on the first day, they sit up and lay their head on the desk. The second day, they're all plowed out on the floor because they are tired. Their brains have done a lot of work that day. And so it's really important to give them that break time. And I like the meditation one because it makes them do something with their mind while they're resting. And it lets them kind of focus on their body. It's my secret. One time I did not do it and everybody failed math that day. I was really upset. So I never miss it. I do it every time and my students actually really like it. In fact, I could give them the link. So, but we do brain breaks and affirmations is really big. Thanksgivings and seeing yourself getting it. If they can't see it, they won't get it. I had a student who wasn't in boot camp, but he told me repeatedly he was going to fail science. I'm going to fail science. I'm terrible at science. I'm going to fail science. And I said, you're right. You're probably going to fail science. I said, stop saying that. I want you to say, I'm going to pass science. I'm a good problem solver. And so that's really important. So you got the one. But it's not working. I fail at moving things forward. Make that page up, page down, page something. It doesn't like us, Jen.
There we go.
There we go. So there's our power pose, one of them. And that's Amy Cuddy. That's the one I like. So if you see her in that video, but she's dressed like that, that's the good video. Anyway, how did you do that?
I just hit the arrow. Yeah.
Okay. Now marketing it. I think this is more Katie because she's better at marketing.
Okay. Well, I think first we're going to talk about qualifications.
Okay.
Okay. And so, like I said, there's
Miss.
you did.
Oh, you went forward.
Oh, yeah. So our, who's it for? So like we said, we want highly motivated students that need to get this done in an urgency for whatever reason, whether it's to graduate with the rest of their class that they would have graduated with, they're going to the military court, whatever. So we want highly motivated students and we don't really focus so much on our NRS levels. We use TABE in Indiana, but you can take 3 and up, I would suggest, are the best scores to have a successful boot camp. And we want to make sure they're motivated, they're committed for the whole time. They can't just come and go when they please. They got to be committed for the whole class. And that's really all my requirements. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I like, if you use, who uses tape? Anybody use a lot of tapes? I use 530 is like my magic number for tape. I don't really care if you're E, M, D, or A, because if you're in the new 13, 14, you're going to get math E's a lot because that's what I've noticed people are locating in. So as long as their score is at a 530 or very close to a 530, I mean, I'm not like a stickler for it. If it's like a 525, that's close enough for me. But 530 is what I consider you'll probably pass. We also, our state pays for our students to get their tests paid for. So they have to pass the ready test or the readiness test. If you're doing high set, they have to pass it. So they are given that early on. So if they are passing it, then of course they can be in boot camp. They can choose to pay for the test if they want to still take boot camp. I let them have that choice. Sometimes they pass. Actually, most of the time they pass. If they're close, what doesn't work is for someone to come in that is low in everything. If they're low in math, I've got them. I feel very confident in my math skills that I will get them through math. I do mostly math. If they're low in reading, that's going to be tougher. So you kind of make a choice and they can make a choice, but you know what? If they pass 2 subjects, that's 2 they didn't pass before. And that motivates them maybe to stay. I always make them pinky swear that they will come back. Very important.
So we have a question online.
Yeah, so you are choosing people who are pretty much test ready?
Pretty much, yes, because you cannot learn in 3 days. You're not going to fix it in 3 days. You can fix some math in 3 days, but you're not going to be able to fix reading. So they should be pretty close. especially they have to for us, so they get their test paid for, and we want them to get it paid for. But it gives them that incentive, because even if you're getting a barely passing score, that doesn't mean you're gonna really pass anyway on the ready test. That it could go either way. So when these are for those either way people. It could go either way, yes. Mine is pretty much 95% after the first try, 100% total.
Mine not so much, but I make sure they come back and get it done. So, yes. So how long do we hold on to them? So my boot camp is a week and Sheila's is 3 days. So we hold on to them as long as it takes to get them completed after that.
I would say I like to get them there for those 3 additional days if they'll come. Because I do my orientation on a Friday and then the boot camp is the following Thursday. And so they come on orientation is when they take the pre-tests, if they haven't been a student. It's also a great thing to finish your students with. If you've been working with students for a long time, let them finish in a boot camp. That gives them that confidence. They really like it. And it often, and sometimes maybe they only needed math. I'll just let them come and take math. They can, and I said, when we're doing science, social studies or something else, you guys can be on computer, or you can have an extra worksheet and you'll work on that together over in this corner while we do science for a little bit. And so they don't mind. And so, yeah, that's kind of, it is somewhat, when the very first boot camp I did, I totally hand selected who came into that boot camp because I wanted it to be a success. And I was really strict, and I have slowly reduced my strictness, where I was in a program where they gave me everybody and I let them do it. And you know what? They ended up with 100% too eventually. They all had to usually come back and retake something, but they never left. I ended up with 100% with them.
Oh, so here's our slide on qualifying scores like we talked about. Any questions on this? I think we can use both mics.
I think so.
We're good. Okay, so well, we got another question?
Instruction each day.
Okay, well, how long do we do instruction each day? We're gonna get to that in a little bit, but mine is about 2.5 hours a day. So, and
Mine's 4.
But we'll talk further about that in a little bit. So how to market. So I create a spam list, which is a great idea for the brilliant man back in the back there. Our, the guy that's looking around there, our Indiana mentor. So I collect all the local schools, principals, counselors, nonprofits, anyone that could use our services, and I make them a spam list and I CC them our flyers every 6 weeks. And it's also great to make sure you have updated email addresses because you get a bunch that bounce back and they're not working anymore. But it's great to showcase your programs, and I've gotten on the basis now that I do it about every 6 weeks, and I get a lot of good feedback, and a lot of people are like, hey, drop your flyers off, I'll hang them in our offices. So that's the main way we market, as well as Facebook, social media. Doing a newspaper ad even, or a radio ad is another way we do that, but they're pretty expensive. So if you can get on their community page, which is usually free in a radio station, then that's a great way to do it. And then word of mouth, referrals from your students. They've been through it. They know what it's like. Hey, do you have any friends that can help benefit from this? Let them know. So that's the main ways we market for it. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, most of mine are word of mouth, and they can sign up. They come to our program. That's one of their options they can choose to try boot camp. And then I immediately call them and say, hey, we have 3 weeks till the next boot camp. Do you want to come in for these 3 weeks leading up to the next boot camp? That would be really great. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just need to get it because their job requires it, and they only have that. They can take those 3 days off. So then I give them access to my classroom, which isn't the one you guys are going to get. I have one that's called 6 Steps to Your HSE, and I give them that, and it has videos and everything on it. And I encourage them to do that as much as they will. Do they? Not always. Sometimes. And the ones that really want it do. And those are the ones I want.
So we just shared some of our examples here. This is Sheila's flyer on the left there. Is that right?
Yeah, it's one of the ones we've used, something
Okay.
like that.
And then on the right here is where I work, our flyer for our last boot camps, our Facebook posts we had, and we use AI to write a lot of this, so no shame, right? Oh, I clicked off of it. Here's our other flyers we've used, and then our another fellow program has done boot camps, and this is theirs on the right. These are Facebook posts. And then lastly, we recently partnered with our local community college, and this was a really great because they marketed it on their sites and got tons of responses. So we had 10 openings and we had 10 graduates for the week. So it was a big success for us. And we're going to do another one. We just did this a couple weeks ago, and we're going to do another one in May, excuse me. So if you can connect with your local community colleges that are probably testing centers for you, it's a great way. I mean, their facilities were way better than any of the classrooms we typically teach in. So it was very nice week for us to go and be there on campus. And then at the end of the week, we had admissions and financial aid from the campus there to talk to our students right away about classes they could get into. So that's all ways to market. Okay, what is our styles and what do they look like? So Sheila, want to tell us about yours?
Yeah, I do, I've done a teen one in the afternoon, 4 days a week, and they did one subject and they test in the afternoon. I've done that. It was okay. That worked pretty well. But what I've done almost exclusively is a Thursday night, Friday all day, Saturday all day. They come Thursday, they test the week before, but they come in Thursday night from 4 till 8. And we do getting them signed up for the test, we get them logged in and all that stuff, because GED, you can sign up the day before. So they have to show up on Thursday or they don't get to take the test that weekend. They have to take it some other time. That's a new thing, because I used to let them sign up a couple days early and then they just wouldn't show up. And then you feel like you had to let them come, even if it wasn't fully there. That wasn't working for me. So that's the rule. You come in Thursday night, you get to be in boot camp. And then they do all day Friday, all day Saturday. Friday morning is 4 hours for class. Then we have lunch together, and then they test in the afternoon from about 1. We say 1 to 6. We tell them not to plan anything before 6. We're generally done by 5. But sometimes things happen with electronics, and so we want to have that buffer time. And Friday we give social studies and for GED, social studies and reading, language arts. And then Saturday I do math first, because that's when it's closest in their brain. We plugged on it for 3 days, because I do math every single day. And then they do science last. And I know a lot of people say do science first because it's the easiest one to pass, but math and science go together because they both have numbers in them. So I prefer to do it at the end. And when I was doing high set, I would do the reading subjects on Friday. So science, social studies, reading, and then I did math and writing on Saturday. So that's how I do it.
Okay.
Did you want to
Oh,
talk about yours?
I will. That's your schedule. Okay,
That's
so
yours.
Monday, so I do mine, oh, yeah, questions.
The official test.
Yes.
We are a testing center.
So, we typically do ours attached to a testing center like Ivy Tech or a local testing center. We have done some where we do it the week before and then they go test the next week, or we do it Monday, Tuesday, and then they go test Wednesday, Thursday. If you're not by a testing center, whatever works, right? Jen, do you need to add something? Oh, okay. It said raise your hand. I was confused. Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
So now, if a student just had one type of test for GT,
Mhm.
they count progress.
Right.
For our program.
Mhm.
But if they don't have 12 hours, with anything,
Mhm.
so the ones that are taking the initial test, statistically, that's not counting anything for you, but you're just hoping you keep them for the 12 hours by the time they take their last test.
Yep, the question she asked was that they have 12 hours in there that they have to get, and so do we.
Yeah.
And that that you can take one test and it counts as a gain, and that's for us too. What state are you from? Missouri. And so that's the same rules for us. And so the thing is that they commit to that 12 hours, and if they don't usually quit. But I can count testing hours too. So I count those first 4 hours. It's 4 hours to take all those pre-tests. And sometimes they have to come back another day to take the math, because we have to give a TABE test. That is required, but I don't have to give all 3 TABE tests. So I only give the math, and I give the M. I don't give the D. I used to give the D, but with the new 13-14, I'm giving the M, because you usually can't bottom it and you'll score high enough. So that saves me doing a locator. And then I give all of the reading tests in GED. And then if there's time and they feel up to it, we'll do the math. Otherwise, I say, how would you like to come back tomorrow or Monday and do the math? And they're like, yeah, I want to. Sometimes I'll even let them take it from home, because it's an online test if they have a computer. So it depends on the student, depends on our relationship and how much I believe that they will do it. But I look for that 5:30 on the math, and then I'll know that they'll pass it.
So for us, we do Monday through Friday, and I'll come back to the question online in just a second. So our class time is usually 8 to 9 is like open class hours. You can come for review. I assign them a practice test every night, the night before, for whatever subject we're doing that day, or 2 subjects on Wednesday. And then from 9 to 11:30 is class time. And like Sheila said, I go through all these slides and go over testing tips, and we go over the practice test as much as we can. We go over the calculator, all that. We have a break for a half hour, and then they go test in the afternoon. And I stand there and do a little dance and a cheerleading. Woo, you're gonna pass. But to answer your question, we take a post-test on Wednesday. So once they've hit their 12 hours of class time with me, because they're generally there from 8 or 9 till 3, once they hit those 12 hours on Wednesday, I post-test them before they leave. So I make sure they get that, and whether they pass any of the test, I still get credit because they made that gain. So that's how we do it. Does that help answer your question? Okay, what was the question online?
No, you answered it.
Okay, great. So
And I'm gonna come out with this for you all to ask into this, because that's the only way people online can hear.
okay, so real quick, I do Monday registration and pre-test. Tuesday, we do writing, because that way we can hopefully get the score back before the end of the week to know if they've passed. And then we combine social studies and reading on the same day, leave science for its own because it's a lot of reading. And then, like Sheila said, math is on Friday because we want to give them the most time to go over math as possible. So, yeah.
We also have to do the 12 hours.
Mhm.
But I wanted to know, are you guys doing ready tests, and how often are you guys doing the enrollment?
So,
Like the cycle that we have asked about how every month.
So when I offer a boot camp for the week, we do registration Monday. They come in, they do their connectable app, they sign all the papers. We do the Indiana Career assessment they have to do. They take their pre-test. And usually that night I give them a packet of all the practice tests for the high set, and they have to do one each night in order to come back, and do the class. I need them to fill those out so I can get their test paid for and know if they're going to pass or not. So that's how I do it.
And she can count that as.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could take the ready test on their own. I mean, I'm always there. They're welcome to stay later for help if they want, but that is homework for them to do. Whether they do it,
And
Yeah.
mine varies, the class is 12 hours plus the 4 hours, so it's 16 hours that I have scheduled in for them. They are offered those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, which is an additional 9 hours. And some of them take advantage of it, some of them don't. If they come in and they are scoring like so fast, I'm like, you know what, this is gonna help you get the best score for whatever your next goal is. So I just convinced them that they need to stay because it's gonna really help them. And you get your test paid for, it's free. And it's not free if you don't get 12 hours. So they have to put in that 12 hours. And usually by the third day, they put in 12 hours, so they have that new before. So that is kind of how I played it, but in answer to, I used to take students every 6 weeks. And I did every 6 weeks, I bring a new batch, and I like that. We have found since the pandemic, especially, students just don't want to wait. They won't wait. And so we kind of have what we call, ASA class now as soon as possible. So they sign up. I like to take them in on Mondays. My colleague takes them in every single day. I do not. That makes me crazy. So I make them come on Mondays. I say, you can start on Mondays. So I pretty much take a new batch in every Monday until my room is full. But I don't have to do that. I like it when they do. My average classes are 6 weeks to 12 weeks for most students, unless they have an IEP and other issues that we have to deal with.
Okay. Any other questions right now? Okay.
Double click on the Q&A down there because I'm not seeing that.
Oh, this is on the Zoom?
Yeah.
Do any of your students test with GD? Yes, we
Yeah.
offer both and Sheila does as well.
Mostly I do GED for boot camp. I only do my high set for accommodations.
Yes.
Well, she asked. Well, I'm a regular teacher too, so I don't just do boot camps. So boot camps happen every 6 weeks, for 3 days. But I teach in groups of most of my students, the general students that come in are with me around 6 weeks. A lot of them come from this class and go into boot camp. I get 2, maybe 4 or 5 out of the city that's coming into class. But that's not, there's a lot of them just finish out of class. So maybe they'll come, they'll get in the middle and they'll have 2 weeks before boot camp. Or maybe they'll have 6 weeks before boot camp. So maybe they've done the whole year and they're just finishing with boot camp. It depends. It really goes by the student. But it's designed to be done straight off, like people coming out of a job. Ideally, that'd be ideal.
Okay, so now we're gonna share some resources we use. We use the practice test. I love to use the New Readers Press Score Boost graphic skills book with my students. And then we have others on here. And Sheila, is there a way we can show them the Google Classroom?
Yeah, I'll do that at the end. so
Okay,
when we
great.
get out of it.
Yes, so we're gonna share more
So
resources.
I like, well, I use GD.com actually because they have a great writing video series on there. I use Aztec. My math that I use, it's 3 pages out of a Elaine Martin Gay math algebra book. And it's honestly 3 pages. That's all it is. 1.8, 3.1, 3.3 out of the pre-algebra book. It's only 3 pages I use, the best 3 pages in that book. I also use a program called Punchline, and I have given you in the Google Classroom the ones that I use because I'm allowed to copy it for my students. You are my students right now, but you are my students. Do not share them with your staff. Do not share them with your friends. They're yours to use. I give you a link to, you can buy them your own, you can get them online now. They're like $20 for a book. I have 3 of their books. They're amazing. They're really bad puns. I mean, bad. You haven't explained the joke, but they're funny and they make you practice a lot. And I just adore them. And I use those in boot camp. I only use them for boot camp. Sometimes I use them with my regular classes, but usually just for boot camp. So we have Aztec and I use the flash questions that's what I teach with for boot camp is flash questions. So.
Okay, here's our Google Classroom. You want me to click on it?
If it'll go.
Oh, ooh. You want me to sign in? I can.
There might be a better, yeah, you'll probably have to
Okay.
have your phone. Maybe 2 second factor off. We had a problem just about you signing in. My husband and I locked our phones in our apartment. We're in an Airbnb and it had the code to get into our building, into our apartment. And I don't know why, but we both did it. And Jim saved the day, but we had to call them because we went to create and we can get into our Google, into our Gmail, and we'll be able to get it out. No, because you have to have second factor authentication to get into your Google. And so we remember the name of the company So we called them and I gave them this whole story and they reached me and they gave us our codes. So come up with another way to get into your Google. So
Okay,
there we go.
all right. So in our Google, Sheila set this up, so I'm gonna let you
I'll
show.
So
what
if
did.
you want to, I'll just show you this right now. The easiest way is write that number down. 25IYT5LC. You only need to know it once. And you'll log into a public Google, so your Gmail Google. 25IYT5LC. All little letters except for the numbers. And that's an L, not a 1. So there's that. That's in stream. So this is basically, I did this conference, something like this in Georgia. And so this was based upon my Georgia one, but then I added stuff from Katie. So indoor classwork is where you're going to get most everything that you need. And it's all the resources in kind of one place. There's this calculator. I just want to show you really quick. It is so cool. It is a online free calculator. You can use it on your phone. So if you click on this, if they put this into something your students can get, they can get this on their phone. And it looks just like the calculator that we use for the GED. And we use this one for the high set too. And it's awesome. And so I highly recommend that. We gave out years ago, Texas Instruments gave us codes for everybody, teachers to have an on-screen one, and it's no longer working. It is gone now. But that one works great. These are all the slide decks. You have the slide deck that you're watching now. These are all Katie's, the River Valley Resources, and then they're abbreviated here, but these are all her slides. They're awesome. They're like 100 pages of slide. There's a lot of slides. And then this is my slide, my Google slide here. That's just how my boot camp works. I use a Punnett Square activity. So this is the Punnett Square activity I use. My husband and I have created a calculator worksheet. He made it look pretty.
This is the best sheet. I'm telling you, if you learn nothing else from this presentation, is to use this worksheet because it has screenshots of all the buttons they need to know to use on the calculator. So highly recommend.
And it's I do recommend if you can print it in color, print it directly off of the link. Don't try to make copies of it. It does not copy well. And anyway, but it's there. I use that all the time. It was designed to teach teachers, so I use it with my students, but they love it. And then the punchlines that I use. I have a short guided meditation link, and I give you this 3-minute quick version of Amy Cuddy. So if you want to see it, you can look up longer versions if you like it. I do a lot with ChatGPT, so I give you some prompts to how you can help grade your papers for ChatGPT. And then if you want to tell me about you, if you come onto this site and you join it, please introduce yourself, ask questions, let me know what worked, what didn't work. And then here's contact information for Katie and I at the bottom. So it should say Sheila and Katie's. Hopefully it is Sheila and Katie.
It is.
Okay, good. Because I did change that, but it's not changed there. But anyway, so that's that. Now you can get back to wherever we were because I don't know how to do that.
So real quick, while I have you, because I learned this once with Adam, who used to be with HiSET. I don't know if he is anymore, but he's not. Okay. So in my slides that I use with my students during boot camp, he told us about words to look out for. And these are my biggest test taking tips. If these words, absolute, always, never, not, all the time, and everything are in the questions, that's probably not the answer. So I tell my students this every day so that they can eliminate those. And I always put them on the board too. But these are the slides I have for each subject, and you're free to use them if you like. There's test practice questions in them. Lots of, how to take a test, what you're expecting on the test. So they're there for you to use as you see fit.
They're great. I actually only had the social studies for a while and I used it with my students and they liked it.
There's a few typos though, sorry. Yes.
So you mainly do kind of set
Mhm.
side of things. So you manage to high set. So for the math, you do you show them that other calculator or do you let them, because
This is,
in Missouri, we can't, they have to use it's the required calculator with only a square root and a percent and a negative sign. And then the 4 plus minus, it's just a very small, so you guys can let your students on that things that use that.
yes. You should check into that. I don't know. Okay. I'm,
They have, actually have.
yes, so we use this calculator and I teach them, you know, we don't go over fractions and stuff because I just show them how to do it on there. Yeah. Yeah, oh, yes, and that's on the worksheet Sheila has. It's a big, long question, and it shows them exactly how to use the parentheses and the negatives and all that. And I tell them my favorite button on there is the either or button, which I don't really know, what is the,
I call it a toggle, but it's the arrow button.
yeah,
Here on the bottom.
right here, this one. That's
I
my
call it
favorite button.
Either or, I like that.
That's what we call it, the either or, because it makes a fraction a decimal a fraction, you know, it's.
I said,
Yeah.
I said, when in doubt, oh,
Mhm.
you don't like what answer you got, see if there's another version of that answer.
Right.
You might like better.
Because if you're doing circumference and it gives you 32 pi and all the answers are 32 point blah, 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 you hit the either or button and boom, there it is. So I'm sorry for you in Missouri. Yeah. Yes, welcome to Indiana. Okay, so,
Alt tab.
well, we're gonna go back to our presentation. All right. Okay. So lastly, we were gonna talk about advocacy component, sorry. Jen, are you talking about this? This,
Totally forgot.
okay. Well, this is Jen. She's our executive director for our Indiana Adult Education Association. And she's gonna talk about this part.
Stand behind the thing so they get to see your
Oh,
face.
I'm gonna stand up here so they can hear me.
So we can see.
And so, hi, I'm Jen Wickington. I'm the executive director of the association. And whenever it comes to success stories, do we have it all figured out? No. Are we still working on it? Yes. Is it very important? Absolutely. But what we built is a website tool that allows our programs to go on that. And if you want to click that link, try it out. It actually allows them to check which program they're from. And it can be filled out by a student. They fill it all out. They can upload a video. They submit it. It goes not only to the program, but also to the teacher. Then it comes to us. And then it allows us where we can send those to COAVE and anyone else who needs them. We've done 2 pretty cool things with them. We did famous, this is where the idea came. We did famous graduates. Have you know all the famous people that, yeah, so there's a whole list, and that's the bottom link that's blocked with the little Zoom bar. I'll fix that in a minute. And the other one is we took all of our success stories and we made them a part of our conference, putting them at all of the exhibitors. And people had to go around and find out which student was at each exhibitor. And the exhibitors just loved it. They loved hearing the success stories. It was a big hit, but it gets that release part where you can release it. This, all of that's taken care of by that simple little form. And it was our partnership with Connectable. They helped build our website and all of that stuff that allows us to do that. Is that all I need to say?
I think
There's another slide.
like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is actually the form. It shows the student's name, the email. Like I said, it's the photo release there. They can type it in their words. It makes it super easy. Now, one of the things that I will add to this is one of our committees is currently working on a best practice. How many of you have your students come to the program to pick up their diplomas? So you send them directly to their house? They go to the testing center?
The test, if you use Diploma Center, you can select to have them sent a copy to you as well, the testing center, and then they have to come to the testing center to pick it up. So that's one way to make sure that they come in and like, you could get a picture with them with their diploma, you could have them fill out a little card with a success story on it, but that's
That's-
something the testing centers can select to do. So-
That's what we're actually getting ready to do, because how many of your associations have students as members? Well, we haven't before, and obviously student memberships are free, the whole student ambassador program that's going on, so we're gonna have them pick up their diploma actually at the center. That's whenever they get to get the card. Hey, you get a free membership to our association, or if it's just the COAB, you get a free membership to COAB. Helps you follow up, make sure you know whenever they're gonna get jobs, whenever they're gonna get raises, whenever they're gonna get. You're gonna be able to stay in touch with your alumni in order to keep bringing them back for things that you need and more voices. So bring them back in. And then we also hope to make a connection where that success story, when they fill it out, then they'll receive an invitation to do the essay contest for the Adult Education Day in the winter. In the winter, I'll say winter. And then whenever they get that invitation to be a part of the essay quest, the essay, so then it just keeps building that relationship, keeping them connected, making sure that we're gonna have. So hopefully, once we have this whole next year, we'll be able to report to you next year at our own conference, the success that was.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's a new feature I just learned about. The testing centers can have diplomas sent to them. So we went over that. Questions? Anybody have any questions for us? Online, in person? You almost made it to the end. No, we're good? Did I not? Oh, well, here's a couple of questions that students have asked us. When can I get my results? Well, with HiSET or in GED, excuse me, you get them right away. The writing takes a couple of days, right? So hopefully by the end of the week, you have them. You can print them out a score sheet and say, here you go. And then you tell them how to get their diploma.
GED, actually, you get the writing, not immediately, but within 15 to 30 minutes, we get everything. Because it's all graded by a AI. And so you do know that you can pass the GED and not pass the essay, right? It's like, I don't like that, but it is a true thing. So I don't honestly work that much on the essay. I show them a couple of videos. We talk about this is how you write an essay. And then I'm like, if you are a great essay writer, don't use the words I or you, go. What was the other one? So
Can I come just for part of the boot camp?
I like that. It ends up happening, it seems more and more, because they will tell me they're coming and then I get this call going, something came up and I can't show up today. And the thing is that with the GED, if you don't cancel the test 24 hours before the test happens, which means really the day, not the day before, but the day before the day before. If you don't do that, then they have lost that term. And if we've given them a voucher, we have lost that voucher, and then they have to pay to retest, and they only get 2 tries. So I try to be very clear about this. It doesn't seem, lately it's just been bad. It's never been a problem before, but it has been a problem recently, but I don't like them to just do part of boot camp. The only time I make an exception is for just a math student. I don't always make them come on Thursday, except for they have to come and get signed up to test. They could technically sign up on Friday for Saturday's test, so. Can I attend if I'm under 18? Depends on your state, but we take them at 16, so yes for us.
With an exit form.
With an exit form signed by the superintendent, but our superintendent loves us, so it always gets signed.
There's one superintendent in my area that likes us, and we just send them all of our exit forms. They send them. Where Sheila is more in the urban setting.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in
We always call Bloomington, we're a little blue dot in the middle of the sea.
I'm in the boonies in hillbilly southern Indiana. So yeah. And can I come to graduation? Yes.
Yes.
Of course. We have a big graduation and we invite everyone, even if you did the boot camp. So yeah.
Only people that don't get invited to graduation is those that walked off the street and paid, took their test. They don't get invited to graduation.
Okay, incentives.
If you can, if our state pays for our scholarships, but if you can find people to pay for them, get some donors. One year we had, I think it was, what's the electric company called? What's the electric company called?
Duke?
Duke did it. They gave us a ton of money. I just finally used it up this year. They gave me so much money to use up on scholarships. This year I used it for people who didn't pass the math in the ready test, but I wanted to be in boot camp, and I paid for their math test to be in boot camp. And I wish I had more money. I have to look for more money. So yes, but get somebody to sponsor them if you can, especially for boot camp, because that makes boot camp very enticing to come to.
I have 10 counties I work in, and I have grants with all my local community foundations, and that's how we cover costs if we run out of state funds to pay for tests. So lots of grants, but most of the time they want, and then they want that invitation to graduation too, right?
Yeah.
So it looks good for them, so.
Access to teachers and other staff for help and what they need, of course, they get that with us. And for lunch, try to get a sponsor. I honestly, Rob and I paid for lunches for years. I now have somebody that gives us pizzas on Thursday nights, and my new director has found money for me to pay for our food now, so I don't have to pay for lunches anymore.
I have a sponsor, he's my husband, and he just doesn't ask when I buy lunches for students, so. And then partnerships, like I talked about, Ivy Tech Community College partnered with us just recently, and it was a huge success. So now we're branching off into the community colleges, and we're hopefully gonna have more boot camps in the future with them, so.
Yeah, there is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. Tiny tweaks, big changes. That was from Amy Cuddy. And she says, you want to, there's an expression she uses, fake it until you become it, not until you make it.
All right, I think that's it.
Thank
Any
you.
questions, what comments? Online, anything?
Make it your own.
Yeah.
What we do, we do it very differently. It works the same pretty much for both of us. Other places do it even more differently, and it works for them. Figure out your schedule, what works for your students. Do you need one subject? I do recommend trying to do math every day, no matter what you're doing. Stick some math in between your words, because that helps.
Okay,
All right,
thank you all.